It's time for Aggrochat, the official podcast of the Tales of the Aggronaut blog and stalwart gaming community, where we talk about stuff and things, and the stuff about the things, and sometimes gaming. I'm Belghast, and let's start the show.
Hey folks, it's that time again. Time for another episode of Aggrochat. This is episode 390. Tonight I'm joined by Ammo.
Hello.
The
Ashgar.
RipRap project was intended to make a machine that can build itself.
Grace.
Hi.
Kodra.
Hey, I am sick.
Tam.
Drake Interplanetary, when the UEE lets you down.
Thalen.
Hi.
Hey folks, it's a quick Editor Bell interlude. We realized we recorded an entire show and never told everyone that this was going to be a full spoiler show about Citizen Sleeper. Now I return you to the regular flow of time. So tonight is going to be a bit of a blast from the past, because we kind of prefaced this, I don't know, a few weeks ago, that at some point we were going to do the Citizen Sleeper show, which is similar to all of our Aggrochat Game Club game shows from the past, because we all played through it at this point. And just to verify, everyone has received some sort of an ending, yes?
Correct.
Yes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
This is a game with a lot of endings. Because I looked
Sure
up
has a lot
several
of
of them
endings.
after I got mine.
The
So
only thing I did was look up how many achievements had colored pictures.
Tam, I think you started this madness, right?
Probably.
By which you mean purchased it for most of us?
Yes, exactly. Yes.
I'll be honest. I don't remember how I heard of Citizen Sleeper. I've heard about it from like some time ago, and like flagged it in my brain as, oh, this is interesting. Like I came across it when I was looking at like running a D&D game of some kind, in like what cyberpunk is there that isn't like old brutal 80s, but also not the disaster that is the current Shadowrun edition, which also is old brutal 80s.
Yeah.
And I think I came across this somehow as a cyberpunk game that is inspired by tabletop RPGs, and I kind of like flagged it in my head, and then forgot about it until I heard other game devs on Twitter talking about it, and other people we know were like, oh yeah, it's out, I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm like, oh yeah, I should try that.
So, like, I had initially heard about this because I believe it was a darling of Ludonarracon.
That tracks.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Now, I really didn't know what to think about it at first, but, like, to me, this game feels so much like playing Fallen London, the web game.
I
Yeah, it's
can
kinda-
see what you mean by that.
Yeah, it's a very similar, like, story happens and there are places where you get to take actions usually to advance bars to fill
A plot,
something
yep.
in to cause something to happen. And that's where you're like spending dice that you rolled at the beginning of the day. It's an
The-
extremely story heavy game. Like that's
Yeah.
the point is the story.
And I appreciated it, and definitely the reference to tabletop games, because this is probably the closest I've gotten to a sort of solo tabletop game feeling.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
played some other games that have tried it, but especially the first playthrough before I had sort of optimized in my head like which things I wanted to do or how some of the systems worked. It had a very tabletop feeling.
Yeah, I think about like, I feel like tabletop inspired PC games kind of got locked in with the like gold box games,
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
and then there hasn't really been a lot of exploration of what it feels like to play a tabletop game other than those.
Yeah. The closest we got to something extremely story heavy was Planescape Torment.
Yeah, and even that was still all of the same mechanics, just like stretched into a place.
Well, there's always this tendency to action gamify pen and paper games, and to some extent it kind of destroys the methodical feeling of playing a tabletop game.
That's been rolled back a bit in recent years. I mean, which I think is mostly the fault of Divinity Original Sin.
I think that I think the Divinity Original Sin going hard into turn-based and not real-time with pause was great. Like, just to, even if you like real-time with pause, it's great to have that different feeling.
Well, to remind people that, oh yeah, this is a way that we can do this.
This game. So I don't think I've heard anyone say this yet, but the game this reminded me the most of was probably Disco Elysium.
Yes.
Yeah, they're very, very similar.
This game is very similar to Disco Elysium.
Like
And-
your protagonist is not the hot mess that the Disco Elysium protagonist is. It's not like
Your protagonist
different kind of
is
mess.
not the hot mess. Your protagonist is in a hot mess.
Yes.
Yes.
It is a crap sack world.
It's
but that's the wider world.
Well,
And you're dealing with the people around you. And they're all real nice.
I will say, like, the first
Mostly.
few turns feel bad because, like,
Oh,
it
yeah.
feels like you're
yeah.
you're under the
Yeah.
gun and
Oh, yeah.
everything is going wrong, and then slowly over time you gain some breathing room.
so again, I think we talked about the mechanics are you roll a number of dice depending on what your condition is. Your condition starts you off with 3 dice. It'll quickly get you down to 2 dice.
And so you get 3 dice on the first day, the tutorial day, and 2 dice on the second day.
Yeah.
And to get more dice than that, you've got to find a way to fix your condition.
Yep.
The max dice you can have in a day is 5.
It's also worth noting you're like a biomechanical android.
You're how corporations got around the laws against AI.
Yeah.
You're an emulated consciousness.
I mean, you're an exo from Destiny.
You're totally not a sentient AI.
No,
Really?
not at all. Cough, cough, cough.
Because those are illegal, and so you're definitely not one of those. No,
You're-
you are a poor sap who, for reasons that are somewhat murky, because among other things, you don't they didn't leave all your memories in there when they emulated you, because you don't need all of those. You need enough to like keep you sane, but beyond that,
I mean, you sold your body for some reason.
yeah.
Did you sell your body? No.
You
sold your mind.
You sold your mind. Yes, your body is in cryo somewhere, and they emulated your mind and put it into a synthetic shell, which is used for work.
And it has a planned obsolescence on it. That means that unless you get the drug that only the corporation has access to, your body's going to decay over time.
Yep, it's slow organ rejection is basically how it's
It,
described.
it felt very replicant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when you so the game starts with you in a cargo pod, having escaped. It was part of a larger attempt by a whole bunch of sleepers, which is what you're called, to escape. As far as you may be the only one that actually made it out. And you've been in this pod for a while when the game starts, and so your body's already started to decay a little bit.
Yep.
And then you end up on this station, and a guy cracks open the cargo pod, and there you are.
But going back to the idea that this is kind of a crap world, but the place you end up, it's kind of a crap place, but has some good people in it, and that made a big difference for me because I don't love cyberpunk as a genre, and I don't love a lot of really depressing things in my media right now, my life. And so I was nervous about that, but this game is not that. I mean, it can be at times, but there's also some really great people.
Yeah. So this is cyberpunk standard, like the world is run by a bunch of megacorps, but the station you're on unionized.
Yeah, they kicked the corporation out.
Pretty violently.
Now, that said, the station's not in great shape because, without the corporation maintaining it, it got damaged in the process of the corporation being kicked out. And, there's limits to what they can do to repair that. But yeah, on the whole, it's the game itself is a very hopeful feeling game.
Yes.
In a setting that is has a depressing background, but that background is far away and is the explanation for why you're in the situation you're in.
I mean, sometimes it's very close up, but it's your job to
Occasionally.
fix it.
Yes, and that's the other thing is you can do something about it.
Yes.
Like this
And-
is very much a game about finding ways to help yourself and others.
Yeah. Well, and in a big way, it's like it is a crapsack world that has hope of not being a crapsack.
Yeah.
Like it's trending towards post-capitalist, and it's like, yes, it was and in a lot of places still is a capitalist hellscape, but we can be free of it.
Yeah. Yeah. The place you find yourself is like it is decayed and might continue decaying, but that there is opportunity and hope that it could be made better. And, you can be part of that. A large part of that. Because among other things, as a sleeper, one of these synthetic beings, you have the ability to sort of connect to the cyberscape of the station.
You can hack the
And-
Gibson.
Yeah, and
See, I've got to
both
admit,
find
like
old records and interact with like more artificial intelligences.
Oh,
I never figured out
interesting.
how to do that.
Oh.
Really?
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, because like
Yeah, no,
I
me
I
either.
assumed
Really?
that you only got to do that if you picked one of the two classes.
No,
Ooh.
I picked the operator.
Yeah,
I-
as soon
I
as you find
picked
out.
the engineer.
No,
I
you
was
can do it with
engineer
any
also.
class.
Yeah.
I was always
Yeah.
an engineer.
I've played
wait,
all
w-
3. You can do it
Yeah.
on any of them.
What do you?
Yeah.
I never
what do you
could
mean
figure
by
out how
this?
to hack the data at all.
There's a little eye that at the top of your screen once you gain the ability to do this, and you click it to switch to like the cyberverse view, and then if you look around, there's little nodes, and if you click on one of those little nodes, it tells you that you need to slot this particular number on the die to
Yep.
unlock that node. And if you
Okay.
have
That is
a
special.
better stat in that one particular attribute, you have multiple options of dice.
Okay,
I will
I
note.
I somehow missed this entirely, and
Wow.
I didn't even
Oh,
know that
wow.
that side of the game existed.
This is a huge part of
Yes.
the game.
There's
That's a huge part of the game. Yeah.
Mhm.
there's a lot there. I'm actually pretty impressed that you can get to an ending without.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no, like
I
you
am
can
too, actually.
you
Yeah,
can
I did
brute
not
force your way
realize.
through. I mean, like I got into corporate servers and such without ever hacking them.
I
Amazing.
did not. Yeah, I did not realize that
I'm
you could
amazed
reach
that
an
the
ending
Bell
without
approach
inter-
still manages
Wow.
to work in this game.
Fascinating. Yeah. No. So when you said you could interact with other AIs, I think I now know what you're talking about.
Oh.
They mostly seem very mean to me, though.
It's true.
One of them
Some
is
of
really
them.
They
nice.
start
One of
that
them's real
way.
nice.
2 of them are fine.
Actually,
I
that's
bet-
true.
Actually, yeah, a couple of them are. Yeah.
Wait a second. I met Hunter and I met Killer.
I mean,
Oh.
yeah. Wait. Yeah. I mean,
Ooh.
Hunter is hunting, and then Killer kills. Yes. But
Yes.
you can take care of them.
Yeah.
There's also a
Oh.
navigator and a gardener.
Yes.
This is a
Yeah.
game about taking care of people.
Yes.
I
mean,
I ran away from Hunter and Killer pretty
I
much.
mean,
And
starting
I-
out, that's what you got to do.
See, like now I'm gonna have to actually go back and replay the game
Yeah.
because my experience was wildly different. Like
Like now I wonder if I should even talk about my ending at all, because my ending is like hugely tied up with all of that.
yeah, no, it's like
Yeah.
No,
I
that's great.
like
No,
there
no,
was
no.
somebody that I desperately wanted to help, but like I couldn't figure out how to help, so I assumed it was tied to the beefier, brawnier class that I picked.
No, you could probably have. Who were you wanting to help?
The medic, the surgeon, Sabine.
Oh,
Sabine.
yeah.
Oh,
'Cause you have
yeah.
to hack
Wow.
to get the
Yeah, 'cause
gang
you have
data
to hack
for
the
her.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. Sabine in my game disappeared, and I was told that they were a corporate agent, and I never heard from them again.
Oh,
Oh wow.
that's a shame.
Oh,
Yeah.
That is a
That's
shame.
a shame because it means you didn't. It means you didn't get to encounter the one explicitly romantic relationship in the game. and they are wonderful.
They are
Yep.
wonderful.
They are.
I mean, I did seem to get along with Sabine, but they got in deep with the yacht again.
Hmm.
And then I came and I waited in their apartment, and a Yadigan lieutenant was like, "You shouldn't be waiting anymore. Let's go talk."
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And so you
Mhm.
do.
Yeah.
Oh,
And if you
And-
go talk and you continue talking and maybe even work for them a little bit, you can find out a lot more about that situation.
About what the Yadigan are really about,
Mhm.
and what happened, where Sabine went, and what all is going on
Yeah.
there. Yes.
hmm
So I'll tell you, I did not do that. I instead built a ship, a colony ship, and then I got stiffed by the.
Yep, I did this too.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
got stiffed by the company.
Yep.
And then I got
Huh?
super angry, and it turns out I played some backgammon with a guy who turned out to be way more connected than I realized.
Yep, same.
Hmm.
I didn't play backgammon with him until after I got the offer for the other thing, which actually is really funny.
And he had me go hack the Gibson. And,
Yeah, but like my hacking the Gibson was all brute force. Like
oh, that's hilarious.
I made my way into the ship and I basically like bluffed my way past the guards, and then that opened up a node where I could just take the data out of the
Nice.
Gibson.
Oh, that's funny.
wow.
If you can work your way onto the ship via whatever means, there's a system still that just lets you hack it out.
Yeah, like I found a way on, and I got lucky dice, because at that point in the game I had figured out how to basically keep my health and energy at max all the time.
So interesting thing about
There's few ways
that,
to do that.
during my playthrough, the first patch came through. The first
Oh.
patch nerfed self-repair. This nerf was deserved. Self-repair was overpowered.
Self repair was way too good. Yeah.
Yeah, but I could get an almost infinite supply of scrap pieces.
Yep.
So I basically could keep myself repaired out all the time. And in fact, like while I was waiting on the ship to be ready to board, because like I boarded the colony ship with me and Lim and can't think of the daughter's name. Right?
Meanie.
Mina.
Mina.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Affectionately known as Meanie.
and
Yes.
the three of us went off into the future. And
Uh,
but while doing that, I was basically just trying to figure out how can I do the safest things to burn these turns down.
Oh, so when I was not doing that, because once I got like, hey, you've got your tickets, everything's set to go, there's like a clock on the end of the game, I was trying to wrap up loose ends. And number one loose end was to make sure that the corporate agent who was trying to sell out the system got what was coming to him.
So okay, so how did you deal with the bounty hunter?
I mean, eventually I didn't have a tracker on me.
Yeah. And then he
Oh,
lives.
yeah.
Yeah.
No,
'Cause
I
you're-
killed 2 bounty hunters.
Because
Oh,
you're
totally-
wow.
wow.
That's
Really?
what I
Wow.
did too.
So I was
I
actually
killed
wondering
them.
if the game would end if that bounty hunter thing filled up.
No, he shows up on the station. So basically for a period of time, I was being extorted to pay the bar tab
Uh-huh.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
From-
of a very depressed bounty hunter.
from
Yes.
from the bounty hunter that's almost our friend, and then
I did not consider him my friend or even
No.
close to my friend.
Yeah,
I mean,
same.
I mean,
he
he's-
considers us his friend.
Yeah, he's the jerkiest character in the entire game, and even he's
Oh yes.
not a com-
So
not 100%.
so
Like,
what
a total
happened
loss.
was basically he got in trouble with the mafia, and I got his gun back, and I was an idiot and gave it back to him. And then eventually that triggered a sequence where he tells me that the corporate bounty hunter that replaced him is already on the station and he's coming for him, but that he has to kill me now to make good with the corporate bounty hunter.
hmm
And I mean, sequence of events happens and I end up getting his gun because the other bounty hunter not like attacks him.
Hmm.
And I'm able to kill, both bounty hunters, the dude that is, the jerk that is pseudo our friend,
Yeah.
and the corporate badass bounty hunter. And
I-
then
So
I never
Yeah.
had
did not get
anything.
I did not get to see the end of the jerk storyline. because once you remove your tracker, he's gone.
Yes.
He leaves.
Yeah.
Well,
Because you're dead.
Yeah, you're dead. You fake your own death. You don't actually remove your tracker, which would be
I
suspicious.
mean, you do also do that, but you report it back as you died first.
Yeah.
Wait, you can get your tracker removed without hacking?
Oh,
No.
No,
no.
Wait, can you?
no,
I
no,
highly
no.
doubt that.
I was gonna
But
say.
you kill
No.
both of the bounty hunters and then you escape to who knows where.
Well,
so
because they'd canceled your bounty at that point.
I thought they canceled your bounty to reassign all bounties to the corporate bounty.
No,
hunter.
because
Yeah.
once you've killed both bounty hunters, you have no bounty on you
Okay.
anymore.
Oh, once
That's
you kill them,
hilarious.
yes. Okay.
Maybe they've decided you're not worth the trouble.
I guess.
I
I
mean,
just
they're
sort of
right.
figured that, I figured that clock was counting down to a game over.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
I thought too. I thought so too. But no, like at that point, I had a way out and was able to grab the gun and kill both bounty hunters.
Yeah, that was a very crazy sequence of events. I was not expecting that to happen because
I thought it was. I thought it was going to be game over. Like literally, I thought every
Yeah.
time the screen flashed red, I thought it was me getting hit, not someone else getting hit.
I'm like, oh well, okay. I guess I'm gonna have to start a new game soon.
I had an almost infinite well of kindness and forgiveness for everybody I ran into,
Yes,
except you
except
said
for one person.
except for one person who I explicitly made a point of watching him burn.
Is the one person Harden?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, I didn't have any kindness or anything for Harden either.
Yeah, I didn't really interact with Harden in any particular specific way.
I mean, I got
I
him
meant
arrested.
people that I interacted with
or whatever.
personally.
Oh,
I watched, because as it turns out, you can be in very good with quite a lot of people by the time that bounty hunter shows up.
Oh,
And they are not actually all that happy that he's hassling you.
That makes sense because you're one of them now.
And yeah, there's an achievement for this
Mhm.
where you witness a lifetime of bad decisions catch up to someone.
that is one of the few achievements I don't have that isn't an ending I didn't get. The other one is I did not realize that failing to watch Mina, because I started as the engineering one, and that was the wrong stat. But I failed to watch Mina in time and just went to work on the ship because that got me parts, and that parts let me repair myself.
I guess I should.
Yeah, I missed the.
oh.
Unfortunately, Lemon Mina did not get tickets to even like potential tickets to the ship.
Yeah.
Aw.
They never got, because he never was able to work if you weren't
so
babysitting.
so I did this on my first playthrough and then I gave them my ticket.
That.
I did give them my ticket. Yes.
Yes, that's what happened with
Like,
me.
When I got there at the end, I gave them my ticket.
So I hit a bug where when you finish their story progresses when you finish one step of the ship. Like you finish one step of completing the ship and you leave, and then you can watch Mina. I assume it never came up for me, but because I finished the ship completely in one cycle,
Oh, weird.
it jumped. It skipped a piece of the chain, and so I was like, oh no, I worked on the ship and didn't help them at all. Like, this sucks. And then I felt really, really, really bad for a long time until I could finally catch up with them again and like build stuff up. And then like they got my tickets. And I guess I should comment on my ending, which did not involve credits, or did, but not at the end.
Right.
I didn't leave the station.
Yeah, neither did I.
That station is my home now. I can stay
Yep.
there as long as I need to, indefinitely. And there's people there that I like. And I've helped some people who really wanted to get off the station, but I don't need to leave.
I have to stay there and feed the stray.
There's
Every
mushrooms.
day.
There's mushrooms on that station. How am I going to stay
Yep.
alive without the mushrooms?
Yeah, I am free of corporate bullshit.
Yeah.
I can grow mushrooms.
But I had a little girl that loved me as a robot.
Yup.
Yeah. I mean, they stayed on the station with me too.
No one
I-
has talked about the other great ending, which is I have a really cool friend. She's a mechanic.
Yes,
Yes, that's
And-
who I left with.
I
What's this ending?
if if you go up, there's the tower. You can go up to the tower.
It took me a long time to climb the tower for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And if you climb the tower, up at the top is a repair bay with an absolutely delightful engineer.
I never
who-
did
With
this.
absolutely terrible luck.
With
Yes.
terrible luck, and who offers you the shadiest sounding deal.
I was like, is this a scam? This has to be a scam, right?
Yeah, right? And finally I was like, nah, I have to know. I have to know.
I have infinite credits at this point.
Yeah.
So I don't care. If this is a scam, at least amuse me.
It felt like a scam for a while.
Yeah.
I am
She has some
curious-
bad luck.
Because
The scam part is not her fault, though.
No.
I'm wondering what I missed because, like, I don't remember anyone like that at the top of the tower.
You definitely had to spend some time getting to know the top of the tower and
Yeah.
exploring up there before
Okay,
she made you the deal.
I basically went up there to board the ship because I was trying to figure out how the hell to board the ship.
Yeah, I went up there so I went up there well before I made it to the gardens, and that was my main source of income for a while because like once things started to work okay there, it was actually really, really good money.
Mhm.
Oh, I made it to the gardens and I started growing mushrooms.
Yeah,
and
same.
So,
Yeah.
and so I was keeping the mushrooms that were good for me and selling shipments of shiitakes.
I was gambling. Gambling is really lucrative for a
So it
while.
turns out, you have incredible insight. Gambling can be crazy lucrative.
Yes.
I was mostly doing hacking things because every time I did a successful interface, I got some credits. But I did not actually feel like I was rolling in money. I felt like, especially towards the end, I was mostly doing things that weren't getting me money.
Oh, I sure had money.
Yeah,
I
had a
just
point.
had
More money.
excess money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a point where I was just rolling in money.
I mean, I had 500 some credits. I didn't really need money for anything.
Yeah, that was the thing. I had well over 1,000 cryo
Mhm.
when I finished, and it's like I don't need this for anything. I don't
Air gap
actually need to spend money.
cryptocurrency.
Yeah, but so my ending. I mean, it started when I rescued a sad 3D printer,
Yep.
and the sad 3D printer turned out to be the navigator, and so I assisted the navigator in dealing with Hunter and Killer,
Mm-hmm.
and then I went and met the gardener.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
And found out the truth about like all
The
of
garden.
about the garden and about like what happened to all of the various sentient AIs on the station, and
Why those mushrooms are so good for you.
Mhm. And I decided, I like it here. I like all these people. There's an AI growing mushrooms that keep me alive. I'm just gonna stay here. This is my new home. We can make
Yep.
this a better place.
Yep.
So I did one of my favorite endings today in my third playthrough, and in that case I was like, okay, I got all my friends settled, everyone is good, and now I am going to go join the gardener and I'm gonna hang out with the AI mushrooms. It was cool.
Super cool.
I was
Yeah.
very tempted to just join the gardener, but I had so much left to do when I was given that choice.
Yeah. Every time I got an ending, I was like, oh no, the ending is happening too fast. I have unfinished business, which is what happened with me with the gardener. I was like, I absolutely cannot leave Mina out to dry to go meld with the garden. Sorry. And then it was like, I forget I'm trying to remember what the next ending. Oh, the next ending was I didn't do well enough because of the weird bug I hit. I didn't do well enough hitting the helping Mina and her dad out that they got my tickets, so I didn't leave there. And that was right up at the point where everything coalesced, where I was like, no, I have a bunch of friends here, and I've made this a better place, and I could leave with these two delightful people, but also I feel at home here. And so I just rejected every ending.
Yeah, my ending is I'm gonna hang out in the renamed Overlook and
Oh yes.
tend bar on occasion and just cook mushrooms for for my friend.
The renamed Overlook. That was the thing I did latest. That was definitely, I could tell, was not intended to be done as late as I did it.
Yeah, I didn't
Same.
get that done. I realized, oh, well, there's actually something at the Overlook, right as the boarding the ship was ticking down.
Oh wow, yeah, I got into the Overlook real early, and for a good long time, that was my source of cryo and keeping my energy up.
Well, like in
Just
games,
Ticket Bar.
I tend to stay the hell out of bars because they're almost always wastes of time. So like I went into this game with that bias. I'm like, I don't care about buying drinks. So I was mostly just looking for things to do there at the end. And
The story
went
there
down
is
that
actually
path.
the story there is actually really funny because you can't get drunk.
Yeah,
Right.
The drinks just improve your condition, your energy. They just function as food.
So I'm curious about this because this is a thing that I was thinking about the whole time is do I think this game would have been better with some amount of voice acting on it? Because it is a very reedy game. Like there's a lot of reading to do for it.
I feel like no. I think I would
Yeah.
have gotten annoyed at the amount of voice acting it would have taken.
Mm,
Whereas
Yeah.
I could read through it very quickly. But that's my
Yep.
bias.
So
Yeah.
my big takeaway is this is a game that should have been on a phone because everything that you do would translate perfectly to a phone. Like this is the type of role-playing game that should exist on phones.
I can see that. It's on a lot of things, but I don't think it's on mobile.
The one thing that just drove me up a freaking wall, and God, I hope they fix this. I hated having to take the stupid ferry between the two halves of the ship every
Oh,
time.
yeah.
Once I unlocked that, I should have just been able to scroll across the gap.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing at the ferry.
There's kind of a reason they're doing
There's
that,
a reason
though.
for this, but it's
It's one you didn't
engage
encounter.
the hacking thing.
Yeah, there are different sentient AIs in different
Yeah.
sectors.
Okay.
So
That said, I still agree with you.
I mean, ascending the tower was also felt like a cumbersome task.
yeah, that's because again, hunters
I missed
down
an
there,
entire segment of the
Yeah,
game.
at the top of the tower is where Killer is.
That's where Killer hangs out. Yep.
Yeah.
So
He
going
kills
back
ya.
to the sound though, I
Tries
really
to.
liked how immersive like the background sounds were.
Yeah,
Like I played,
Yeah.
with my headphones on, so I felt very immersed. Like, and there was like a subtle change in like the different areas you were in. Like if you were in a restaurant or something, it was still noisy ship noise, but there was also the sound of like clinking dishes and stuff like that. And it just changed depending on what part of the ship you're in and what you were doing.
Yeah.
I think that Disco Elysium is hugely improved by the voices because so many of the, I'm going to use this term loosely, characters in that game they're so hard to envision that it's hard to like attach a voice to them and therefore a personality. So the game
Mhm.
really benefits from that.
yeah.
Whereas in Citizen Sleeper, the fact that the art is so evocative
Yes.
and then my imagination fills in those characters' voices from their writing
Mhm.
does the opposite, where it's where it's leaning so much on that, like, I mean, beautifully rendered. Like it's very Lancer RPG art to me, and I absolutely love that art style.
Does very strongly resemble it. Enough that actually I'm going to start looking up if those are related now.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
It's real good. It just, I mean, and it would be so easy with the sort of otherwise gentleness of the game for me to just get completely turned off of a character just by their voice.
Mhm.
Like, oh, this person's annoying.
I will say this game definitely has the same thing that 4X games do, where you just have like just one more cycle.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Because I was up until
Mhm.
like 11:30 last night playing it and not even realizing it.
Let's not talk about how long I was up the first
I-
time.
It's a good thing this game is relatively short.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
all
Pretty
I'm
short.
saying.
I was
Yes.
gonna say it took me about 5 hours to play through, and I did do
Yes.
it in a single night.
Yep.
Took me
Same.
about 7 in 2 sittings.
Yeah, it definitely sucked me in a very big way.
I haven't not gone back. I was very happy with my ending. Did not really feel the need to go back, but maybe I will now. Sounds like there's some cool stuff there.
Uh-huh.
I really loved the plot line about the figuring out what was going on with Hardin.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Mhm.
Who was that guy's name? The
Fang? Fang?
Feng, yeah.
Fang, yeah.
The Haverage agent.
Yeah. Fang was a good dude. I found unraveling what was going on with the Yakutai,
Yatagan?
Yatagan, was like, I expected to hate them. And by the end I was like,
Yeah.
all right, no, I'm actually okay with them.
Yep.
I actually like these people.
Yeah, it's
Except
like
that one guy.
Well, except that one guy.
Yeah,
I mean,
but,
that one
you
guy
know,
is not really there anymore, so
Yeah. it's not really
Yeah.
his fault.
I mean, it probably was his fault, but not to the extent that it currently is.
Not anymore. It's not. He made a
Fair.
bad decision a long time ago, and
Yep.
yeah,
And the bar. I loved the bar.
Which one?
The one at the very beginning that you can
Okay.
like, be a server at and like bus tables.
oh yeah.
Satala's.
I mean that's yeah, the Overlook. That's my place. That's where like that was my default place to spend dice.
Yeah.
I made noodles a lot because
I did make noodles a lot.
it was money and energy at the same time.
I was incredibly shit at making noodles.
Yeah, see, endurance was my bad.
I spent
endure was my bad stat. I was good
I
at
spent a
engage.
lot of time with socialists.
I just gambled a lot. I was real good at it. I could pay for everything else once I gambled a lot.
I was astounded at the amount that you can make gambling. I started off as the engineer, but like I focused on insight for most of my advancements, and you can make a lot of money.
You can make a lot of money gambling.
I got whatever perk that lets you re-roll your dice, and that is
Yep.
super useful.
I didn't get that one until real late, but yeah, it's real nice once you got it.
I got it kind of midway through, I want to say.
I appreciated
the crazy thing, Bell, is it's still amazing to me that you didn't engage with the hacking game at all, because one of the cool things about the hacking part of it is that dice that wouldn't be terribly useful for normal stuff can be incredibly useful for hacking, because you don't need high numbers, you need a specific number. Like you might need a 1.
I somehow missed the part in the tutorial where they told me how the hell you hacked.
And boy, is the reroll extra useful when you have that available too.
Yeah, because like I just assumed it was the class that I chose. Since I chose the endurance class, I'm like, I don't know. There's all this stuff that requires hacking. I can't figure out how to interact with it. I must have chosen the wrong class. Oh well.
Let me just say, when you have 6 cycles left, and you have 6 cycles to hack, and they require you to have, like, what was it? A 4, a 5, a 5, a 6, a 6, and a 5.
I mean, I couldn't tell you what they required specifically because I definitely had +1 systems.
Had options.
And I definitely had rerolls. And I didn't realize that you had 6 cycles to do it and did it in 2.
Yeah. I did it in about 2 cycles.
I mean,
well.
I did.
I mean, I got the first 5 in
but
one day. The time limit was not as strict as I thought they were going to make it.
Did anyone at any point reach a game end that was not a credits?
I hit a stall out, and like there was a period of time where like nothing was progressing, and it's because I hadn't climbed the tower, and the game wasn't really telling me I needed to climb the tower.
So I'm actually not certain if it's possible to hit a game end other than credits, because apparently, like, even like if your condition drops to 0, that is not the end. You just basically, like, one of your attributes is damaged and your condition gets set back to 2, I believe, and then you have to spend some of the points that you get from drive to undamage the damaged attribute. So it's not great.
Well, I reached a point where like all I had were 3 drives. all 3 drives required hacking. I thought hacking wasn't a thing for me. So I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do now. I guess I'll climb this tower.
Did anybody manage to stay in the good graces of the mechanic at the beginning?
No.
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 I have no
think you
idea how
can.
you can.
He kicked me out.
Yeah, he kicked me out too, and I figured that was probably...
Yeah.
Is it because people did the investigating, or does he still kick you out even if you just take the ship apart?
I did it both ways, and he still kicks you out. He just
Okay.
is nervous about keeping you around.
I think he's less angry at you if you don't investigate, but yeah, you get kicked out no matter what.
Okay. Like, I couldn't figure out what I did wrong there to, like, piss him
No,
off. Because, like, all of a sudden he just hates me now.
He told me that that the ship is the one that I came in on, and that it got taken out by somebody. Somebody like shot a hole through this ship trying to get to me, and so they'd come after me one way or another, and he didn't want to be in the crosshairs.
Yeah.
Did anyone help the merc?
Yes, I
Yeah.
did.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
absolutely.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
She was great.
That was one of the ending.
She's so great.
You have to also help the merc in order to get the ending where you leave the mechanic.
I don't know which merc we're talking about. Maybe I did not encounter them.
The merc who needs a ship mind because somebody stole hers.
Oh, I had a bunch of ship mines, and I had no idea what they were useful for.
I mean,
I'd like-
you use one of them to save a poor 3D printer,
Mhm.
I had
And you-
2 ship mines.
and you give one of them to the merc who needs a replacement ship mind because somebody stole hers.
I had
And
a
then
drive.
after that, they're not actually worth anything to you other than selling.
Yeah, after
Right.
that, you can sell
There's
'em.
just a vendor where you can sell them. Is there a way to get past the waste? Or is that just the end of the ship?
I'm pretty
for
sure
That's the
us?
end of the ship.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
Yeah, the spot where you
The only thing at the
hunt
very
for
end
scrap.
there is, that's where the final server is
Mhm.
for the corporate hacking thing.
Yeah,
Okay, the thing I didn't engage with.
right.
Because, like, there was I kept thinking, okay, eventually I'm going to get a way to unlock past this because, like, I have quote unquote conquered the garden now. Because, again, I didn't know there was any hacking that I could do.
If you didn't hack, you didn't do nothing in the garden.
Well, I mean, like, I researched all sorts of kinds of mushrooms and figured out a way to get, like, infinite serums or whatever.
But you
He
didn't
hacked
grow
mushrooms.
the important
But you
seed.
didn't grow the very important seed.
Yes.
Okay.
Learn why this station is growing mushrooms meant just for you.
Okay, I don't know what the important seed is. Because, like, I grew one that basically gives me an infinite supply of the regen serums.
It's the seed you get from hacking.
Okay. I never went in the Backgammon Cafe because that seemed like a waste.
That's
So I
where
don't know
Fang
what-
is.
That's
after a
where Thing
while.
is. So if you didn't know how to hack, you wouldn't have been able to do anything more for him anyway.
Yeah.
So following the mercs path, I think I was supposed to be more broken up about that than I was.
Yeah.
It was very awkward.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think I got the impression that I definitely did things wrong in that one because it just the way it ended just seemed very like it was
Abrupt.
supposed to be. Yeah, and I was just kind of
Yeah.
like, I guess I'm like missing something here. I don't know, because I was like, well, that's the thing that happened.
I tried that one a couple different ways and didn't really get any sort of
Yeah.
different results.
Okay.
I mean, the game makes it sound like I should be broken up that
Yeah.
they ended up shooting that person. Like, I don't know who this person is.
I mean, I do.
Yeah.
I did feel like it's like, wait a minute, you don't need that ship mind anymore. I gave you a new ship mind. Like,
Yeah. So what's the big? Why
you
is
don't
it
even
still
need that one anymore.
right?
And if you're gonna take that one, give me back the one I gave you.
Yep.
Those things are expensive, yo.
I guess I just figured it's like I guess we were supposed to maybe feel something or feel bad for the sleeper that was involved with that quest. I
Yeah.
guess.
I guess. I mean, I thought, honestly, I thought eventually the merc would lead to another way off the ship.
Same.
That
Yeah.
you would leave
She
on that
does.
ship.
She does.
Yeah, she does.
He does.
Oh.
I did not get that.
You have to
Same.
go befriend the mechanic first.
Okay, so it's
okay,
tied.
good, yeah.
It's tied to the mechanic.
Yeah.
Yeah, because her ship's in a pretty bad state, even though you've been kind of working away at it.
Yeah, it needs more repairs. So, you know,
I mean, I
once
spent a lot of time repairing it.
I mean, you know, yeah, but we're not what you'd call like skilled ship repair.
Also,
Apparently.
it turns
Are
out
we, though?
after that whole experience, she doesn't really want a merc ship anymore. She might want some different mods on her ship.
Yeah, your final job for her is disarming her ship entirely.
It's a real
The-
awkward sequence, but also I'm like, yeah, sure.
I mean, yes, I'm inserting myself into this already awkward sequence, which surely will not get less awkward by my addition. But also, these people seem fine. These are good people. I want to go with them.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was probably the one that I agonized about the most, where I was like, I could leave with them, but I don't know how I would stay working. Whereas I did know that there were mushrooms that would keep me going.
I had like months and months worth stockpiled of the stabilizing stuff.
I mean, also I had the ability to repair myself. I'm traveling with an engineer. I figured I'd be fine.
Yeah, that was my takeaway. Was like I have a ridiculous amount of scrap. I can continue to repair myself
Yeah.
forever.
It is nice how by the end of the game you kind of feel like you are in a self-sustainable position.
Oh yes.
And there are multiple ways to get here.
I really appreciated like the moment where in the ending I had where it's like you're looking at the image on the passport and it's like an image of your human self and it's like, wait, this isn't me, but actually it kind of is, and this person made a poor life decision and now they're going to be asleep for a while and that's on them and I've got my own life. I really liked it.
I really like that there are so many endings to the game and they're all good. Like I feel like basically any way you choose to end the game feels good.
Yep. I found quite a few of them, and they were all pretty good.
But yeah, this was a game that made me real happy.
It definitely felt very good to make Lemon Mina happy. That was like very early on. It was like, you know what? I might have a limited lifespan on this character, so I'm going to do what I can to make these two characters who seem to have a rough go of it happy.
Yeah, that's kind of my theory too. Is like if I could just make them have a good, outcome, then my life had meaning here.
And then it progressed past that.
I don't think I've ever related to a game mechanic more than waking up and seeing a bunch of like ones and twos on my dice. Because I have definitely had that day where I'm like, ugh.
I kind of love the pattern of the dice though. Like I want D6 with those markings.
I have a number of very fancy D6s, and yes, those are great. The ones they had in game were particularly great.
They're amazing. Like that's a great way of representing the numbers.
I hadn't thought about having them as actual D6s, and now it's all I can think about.
Yeah, I mean, like, because the thing is like it has two side effects. It's like one, yes, you can count the pips, but two, each of them is distinct enough glyph wise that for me it was like instant recognition based on the pictogram of the dice rather than me counting the pips.
They do also very, very usefully color them.
Yeah. They tell you how good a dice is.
Yeah. The other rabbit hole that I want to go down with this one is tabletop RPGs have not had a ton of truly new and innovative mechanics in quite some time. And there is one that stands out in my mind that Citizen Sleeper uses in the clock.
Thank you, Blades in the Dark.
Yes, like Blades in the Dark is a RPG that that I and a few other people here kickstarted years ago. And one of the things that it does is it tracks big stuff that is happening in the game with little like pie slices that fill clocks. It can be good stuff that you're working towards. It could be bad stuff that might happen to you. It could be anything. But it's this beautiful abstraction of bigger things happening that don't need a ton of like bookkeeping. It's just, hey, this is getting close to happening. And I feel like I mean, Citizen Sleeper has clearly read some of these books, and the entire game is structured around it, and it works so well. It's like, I know how close I am to getting a thing done. I know how close a thing is to happening to me.
Also, it lets you know when you see a bad clock with 3 segments, maybe you should do something right now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
See, and that's one of the things that I wish like Fallen London would adopt is they do something similar, but they use buffs to track status, but you have to go look up what this buff means. So like, someone is coming is an event that triggers something at some point, but you don't know at what number the actual trigger is. And it's
No.
not like they're obvious, like, when it gets to 10, it triggers.
I appreciate how ominous it can feel when you see one of those, little timers, a nice red one filling up.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just such a good bit of messaging. And like, you know what's up, you know it's not good, but it doesn't have to get explicit. It doesn't have to like beat you over the head with it. You can just look at it and be like, I should do something about that. It's a good way of it's a good way of making timed tension without putting you on an actual clock.
I mean, I think the other aspect of this game that I really enjoyed is the fact that you have fixed dice rolls, which again, you can change them, but like you have these rolls to get you through a day.
Yeah.
So like you can choose, okay, this is more important to me. I'm going to spend the big roll on this action.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're not picking the action and then seeing what you roll attempting it. You know, I have these dice, and if I spend this die on this action, then my chances of positive, neutral, or negative results are these. Like,
This is also a thing I have seen in an RPG, although that RPG's rules for were actually worse than Citizen Sleepers. Specifically, I'm thinking of 7C here. A system where you sort of roll all of your dice at the start of a round and then spend them later.
yeah.
I think
Like-
the other thing that I dug was the fact that the number of dice that you had was determined by essentially how well you were taking care of yourself, which
I love this.
essentially became an equivalency for your hit point pool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because certain events can reduce that number without
Mhm.
like getting caught by Hunter. Not great for you.
No, and it's worse each
Or-
subsequent time.
Also, not great getting caught by Killer.
Yeah,
That
probably
never happened
worse.
to me.
I wanted to see what the big cool nodes are. I'm actually curious. I ended up with a bunch of cipher keys.
hmm
Hmm.
Are
I ended
those
the game with
useful for
0.
anything?
Hmm.
Yes.
They are.
I ended the game with 0 because you get
Ah.
exactly as many as you need to do things.
Those
I-
are for a thing.
I had one. I never knew what to do with it, so it just sat rotting in my inventory.
There's a very friendly vending machine waiting for you.
Yes. In a locked off bay.
I'll have to play again and find the very friendly vending machine.
So the thing is like I went into this discussion not ever wanting to play it again. And now I realize, oh crap, I missed half the game.
Yeah.
Did you were you like, I don't want to play it again because I'm very satisfied with the story it told for me?
I was fine with the story that it told me. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
it was a sad ending, like, because eventually, you're essentially being shut down to try and prolong your life.
Yeah, but I mean, it sounds like you live a long time.
Yeah.
Like you live long enough to see Mina grow up. You live longer than Lim does. Like you say goodbye to Lim before Lim says goodbye
Right.
to you.
Right.
And like you're the only one that Mina has, and so she's trying to prolong your life so that she can just keep you around.
But I mean, like, I was perfectly satisfied with that ending.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Sad, but it's like, yeah, anything's sad if you compress like 40 years into a couple paragraphs.
If you let any story go on long enough, it ends in death.
No, I
Or if
really
you go
like.
hang out with the gardener.
You last a lot longer that way.
Last a lot longer in a much weirder situation.
Yeah.
I also appreciated the optimism of Fang, who and some of the there were some good quotes in here, which is my favorite being basically corporatists think that people should serve systems. I think that the systems should serve the people. And it's like, yeah, everything looks terrible, but we get to have a say in how terrible it is. And if we work towards it, we can fix things and make them better.
Yep. I was glad the game did not try to like make me sympathize with Harden at all.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
I was worried for a moment. It's like, are they going to try and like set up some sort of, well, both of them have a point? No.
Not even a little bit.
Nope.
Yeah, it's got no interest in giving him any slack.
Yeah.
And I'm A-okay with it. The weird spy guy was definitely, I was like, what? Wait, what?
Is the weird spy guy someone I didn't encounter because it didn't hack? Or
I
are you
don't-
talking about the dude that got us the passes onto the ship? Because
The back
I still don't know.
He is that dude.
He is
You
that
can
dude.
encounter him otherwise.
I still have no clue what his deal is. I mean,
He's an
You
info
encounter him
broker.
earlier
Yeah.
than that. You can sell him info, and he will give you things like a ship mind.
Yep.
Yeah.
well, okay, so he asked me to hack for him, so I encountered that. But again, I couldn't hack, so I didn't know what to do with it.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah. Well, that's kind of all there is. Just that
That's-
encounter and the ending sequence with him.
I kind of love that we don't really get much about that guy, because it's like you don't need to know anything about him.
Yeah,
He's a spy.
He wants to keep tabs on. Hey, it turns out this is a corporation. He might specifically be an anti-corporate spy, and he's like, "Hey, this is a corporation doing some shady stuff. I'd like to know everything about what they're doing."
Yep. I'm on board with that.
I do think it would be very funny to give your tickets to somebody else and then not go aboard, because then that
Oh.
guy just must be very annoyed with you.
He's weirdly
He's actually not.
Yeah. He's like, that's an interesting choice you made. And you can be like, are you mad about it? And he's like, no. It is equally interesting to me that you didn't take that choice. That is other information.
But Mina would have been sad. Couldn't do that. I
definitely
bond
have
to specific characters in games, and
Yeah.
Mina is who I bonded with.
We've
So
noticed.
I mean, so
Although, to be fair, this game is very good for that.
this game is very good for this. I played this game on Tuesday night, which was right after I'm in the United States. We had a tragic shooting incident this week, and I was not in a great headspace. And yup, I was like, I've got a kid going into kindergarten next year, and I am feeling very protective right now. And
Mhm.
so that definitely made my decision of who to support easy in this game.
I like to revisit what I said earlier. I would really love to see somebody put games like this on mobile phones,
Yeah.
because like this is a system that would work entirely great in the disconnected nature of playing a turn or two here or there on a phone. And there's nothing really in the interface that would require much more than, what you can easily do with fingers.
I thought this was very interesting system that and I think this is another thing that's really fascinating, is this is a system where there are mechanics designed around you taking actions that are not violence. Like there are violent actions, but they are wholly unsystematized. All of the systemic actions are like going and doing jobs and various social interactions. And I would be like, I don't know if that works because you are playing a video game where there's tight control over what inputs can be done, and so that makes it easier. But that's really fascinating to me, and something I would love to see if this could be explored in other RPGs.
I think the system that they set up is really good for a light combat system or a combat light system where most of your interactions are social or
Well, I mean,
checks.
There is no actual interaction like check for violence. Like, I'm pretty sure in your game you just said, "Hey, do you have a gun? Do you want to do some violence?" And you said
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
and then you did some violence.
Right. Like it was a menu choice I made, not an actual roll.
Yeah, I never actually. I gave the gun back. I chose not to do violence in that case.
I say I don't think I ever did any violence the entire game.
I gave the gun back and did not do violence in that case, and then did not encounter that dude again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got my tracker dealt with.
Right. I mean, I gave the gun back the first time. I just used it the second time.
Yeah, that's what I did too.
I'm definitely interested in finding what comes next from this group.
Right?
Yeah, I
This
definitely
is
want to
a-
see them
this
do
is a-
more stuff.
Yeah, this is a team that is suddenly on my radar.
They have
You
a
know-
previous game, but I didn't play it. Called In Other Waters.
I mean, I think the most amazing thing about this game is they did so much with so little. Because if you really think about it, there's not a lot of detailed interfaces going on in this game. Like there's some really good artwork. There's a lot of good narrative text content. There's a solid dice mechanic, and then essentially a bunch of checkpoints along a single map that bring up dialogues.
Grace, have you played In Other Waters?
I have not.
It definitely sounds entirely up your alley.
Yeah,
You guide and aid a xenobiologist in studying and exploring an alien ocean.
yeah, I feel like that might be slightly up my alley.
I think I'm going to get this because,
Yeah.
like, it's like even if I didn't already, like, feel like I trust them to make stuff I like this sounds interesting just on its own.
It is specifically got some like form feet. It says it really is pushing that it's a Switch designed game.
Oh.
Like you can play it on Steam,
that
but they're
mean?
like on Nintendo Switch, In Outer Waters supports handheld mode for a beautiful and intimate experience and a full controller mapping in TV mode for sofa scientists. I don't know. I think it's got touchscreen enablement though, is what it's trying to say.
This looks like something I'm going to purchase on Switch then. I mean, frankly, I wish I had played Citizen Sleeper on the Switch because it seems like it would be perfect there. So
It does seem like a good Switch game.
Yep.
I think I'm gonna purchase this one on the Switch.
It does kind of make me want to go play Sunless Sea and Sunless Sky because I never really made it very far in either one of those games.
I mean, those games are not intended to be as. Those games are not as nice to you.
No.
Oh no, they're real mean to you.
They're real mean.
Like ultimately, this game is pretty hopeful. Those games have bad ends frequently. That's kind of the point.
Yeah, I mean, to some extent, part of the charm of this game is that somehow it does manage to be hopeful, and I love that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think part of it why it works so well is that you do feel so like hopeless and
Yeah, the
in
beginning
trouble
feels.
when the game first starts, and you're desperately trying to be like, oh my god, I only have 3 dice, and I need money, and I need food, and I need to fix myself, and I need to, oh, what do I do? And then you start making friends.
But I know Ammo said this, but like really the soundtrack helps a lot with that mood.
Yeah.
Whenever
'Cause it-
things start happening, the music changes. Sometimes subtly, sometimes extremely not.
Hmm.
Yeah, the music was very, very nice.
And then sometimes it just becomes this really chill lo-fi beat.
Yeah.
Okay, did anyone have any interactions with Stray other than the very first ones?
I mean,
I
I
fed
fed
it a
it
lot.
every day.
Yeah, same.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I fed the Stray quite a few times. It's only
But
3 crab.
But
Missed
the Stray
entirely.
Yeah, I missed this too.
the
You
Stray never really interacted with me again other than that first day.
same.
same.
But I fed him every day because
Yeah.
that was my buddy.
Yeah.
I did.
Yep.
I thought I had done everything in the game.
Did you not make a house?
Yeah.
Yeah, after you build a house,
Oh,
one
house
of the
has an
things you
extra
can do
option.
in your house.
Yep.
I flubbed that. There's a roll there. I fucked it up.
Oh,
Really?
no.
Oh.
You know how you have to roll to build the house?
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can fuck that up real bad. Let me tell you about how
I
my
didn't actually realize
endurance
there
was
was.
bad.
I didn't actually realize there was a negative clock there.
I just fed it a bunch of scrap.
You had to
I mean, there's
weld it
two
together.
stages.
Oh, I guess
the
that's
one where you
right.
stick a bunch of scrap in it, and one where you actually have to do stuff.
You have
Right.
to seal it.
But I was
yeah.
an engineer at that point, so it was it was a cakewalk. I think I did it in a single turn.
I started as an engineer, and I think I did it in 2 days.
Yeah.
I was like, well, by the time I got here, I already had 4 other domiciles, so I'm just gonna. This is just a dice dump for me. Whoops.
Yeah, the commune is great and all, but you can't feed the stray at the commune.
Right.
Oh, I lived in the tower.
The tower is kind of hilarious, and the one that I felt was least necessary, but yet I still did get it.
Do any of the communes have any of the other domiciles have different like effects on you?
No.
Okay.
Other than giving you a kitty.
Yeah. It's mostly
just one of them has a cat that you can feed, and other than that, they're all the same.
Yeah, it's mostly just the ability to have a resting place near where you intend to spend most of your dice.
Got it.
Not that moving takes dice or anything, it's just player convenience mostly.
Yep.
And flavor, I joined this commune. I'm going to hang out there sometimes.
Yeah.
That was actually the first alternate domicile I got.
Same.
I didn't realize they were a thing until I joined the commune. I was just going back to the box every day.
Yep, I went back to the box.
I realized that I could build a house, so I built a house.
Yeah, I was at the commune for quite a while until I went ahead and did the house because I didn't do that.
I almost didn't build the house, because I was using scrap to heal myself. That seemed way more valuable than having yet another place I could sleep when I already had 2. I had the commune and the box at that point.
I mean, I very quickly came to the decision while playing this game that, okay, anytime I have an opportunity to fill a cycle, there is a good chance that is going to unlock more story. So I'm going to do it.
I think I probably ended the game quicker than I needed to, mostly because I felt like I was trying to race against a clock that probably wasn't really there.
Yeah.
And by the time that I got all of those clocks dealt with, I did have an actual clock, which was the ship is going to leave.
Yep.
But that's a clock that doesn't really even start until you climb the tower. Because, I had reached a point where I had kind of stalled the game out because I hadn't climbed the tower. And essentially, I think that clock doesn't even exist until you've climbed the tower.
Oh, interesting.
Because, I had done everything to resolve giving tickets. And I played probably 20, 30 turns since that before climbing the tower. And then when I climbed the tower, it started the clock on the ship.
I think we forgot to do this, but you should probably stick a spoiler warning on the front of this show rather than
Yeah, I just realized that. I think I'm going to do a thing where I shim in a spoiler warning in the morning.
Hey,
Sounds
everybody!
good.
The last hour or so was
might have contained spoilers.
Full of some spoilers.
So if you don't want those retroactively, I don't know.
I mean, look,
erase your temporal lobe.
Start a new game and don't listen to the podcast.
Yep.
I'm gonna call this the Citizen Sleeper Show, and anytime I call something along those terms, it's a full spoiler show.
I mean, I think that's totally fair.
I don't think we have any new listeners. We just have the same handful of listeners that we've had forever.
I will say, though, that this reminds me a little bit of how much I enjoy the old Game Club games.
I had a polar opposite reaction to that.
Oh, yeah?
This reminded me of how much I hated the Aggrochat Game Club games.
Oh, yeah?
Because once I got to playing the game, I had fun with it. But it felt like I had video game homework from the point we announced this. Because, for me, my enjoyment of a game comes a lot from the mood I'm in. I have to be in the mood for a specific game. And,
hey, Belle.
Yeah.
Get in the mood to play Horizon Forbidden West.
I don't. Grace has been holding this over my head for, months now. And every time I talk about, playing Guild Wars 2 or New World is real sad that I haven't finished Horizon Forbidden West.
Yeah, I should do that as well.
It is a thing to be sad about.
I should finish Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yes.
But yeah, I have to very much be in the mood for playing a game. And anytime we did those shows, it felt like I had this homework assignment looming over my head.
Yeah, I can agree with that, but like I enjoy talking about a game that we've all played.
Yeah, like I love the end product, which is the show when we talk about the thing. I just don't like the homework assignment.
I apologize for saddling you with the homework assignment, Belle.
It's forcing us to like actually do some prep for our show.
Yeah. No, like structurally, I love the shows. They're great. I wish I could force a mood to play a game.
Yeah.
Like I had a really long day yesterday, and it was the right speed for me to play. So I hadn't played any of it until last night, and then I made most of a playthrough in a single evening, and then finished up this morning. It was a good game.
It was a good game.
It was a very good
Five
game.
mushrooms out of one serum.
Wow.
Any final thoughts?
I hope to see other games in this sort of style.
Yes.
Same. I have a hard time getting into visual novel, like pure visual novels. But this was
That's
like
basically what this is. It's just
Yeah.
presented differently.
It was engaging in a
Yeah,
way
it was-
that those
it was-
aren't to me.
Yeah, exactly. It was like that, just engaging enough for me to be like, well, I guess I hope this game isn't long because I'm going to be playing it until I'm done.
Well, okay, so my problem with visual novels is they feel very much like I'm reading a PowerPoint.
It's like a choose your own adventure, and I mean, sometimes I can be in the mood for that, but
I've
this
seen a
style
few where
was-
the act of choosing is slightly more involved. Like
Right.
you need a particular skill or you need particular cards or whatever have you to figure this out, figure the situation out. And those can be more engaging than just the select multiple choice, which is the frequent thing visual novels do. But this was a step beyond even that.
Right. I mean, this felt like I was playing a solo pen and paper adventure, just like, was said at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, kind of like one of the old fighting fantasy books.
Great experience. Hopefully you will have played it before you watch the show or listen to the show. I guess that's it. Hopefully you enjoy the show, and we will see you again next week. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
See you.